Hey yo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. 24 hours after a really great Money in the Bank pay-per-view where they seemingly almost got everything right, we come back to Monday night where everything goes right back to normal. Everything goes right down the freaking tubes, and Monday Night Raw does not fail to completely disappoint in every way possible. How do you have two legends return, two surprise wrestlers coming back, and Money in the Bank cash in all on one show, and yet you still get everything wrong and make Monday Night Raw the worst television show in the history of television shows? And we are here to talk about it right here and right now with great vengeance and furious anger. My name is Nick Nightmare. You are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Monday Night Raw review and reaction show, and it is time to bring the hammer down on this piece of crap. As usual, let's do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
I'm poo-poo. John Cena's back. You can't see his hat, but it looks black, and that's just fine. Isn't everybody happy to see John Cena? Let's get so happy. John Cena is back. You know what's bad about John Cena coming back? The fact that he shows up on Monday Night Raw, he kicks things off to a thunderous ovation just like he did when he returned at Money in the Bank last night, and he gives these guys on the current roster a masterclass in what being a promo master is all about. John Cena is part of this upper echelon of microphone commanders in the WWE's history that is just unmatched. And I think when he comes back, just like even when guys like Edge comes back and they have these promo segments and they just have a command of the crowd. There's an immediate and instant connection. It's organic and it's real and you can feel it, and it was a nice way to kick off Monday Night Raw. Get the energy up, get everybody excited that we can finally see him on our TV screens. But what was his purpose on Monday Night Raw tonight? He came to Monday Night Raw to tell everybody that he's going to challenge for the Universal Championship, not just to make his history-making 17th world title win something that he could finally accomplish, not just for the fans, but because Roman Reigns is, and I quote, an asshole. And then the man who has been known to be the most overhyped, overpushed superstar in history then goes to say Roman Reigns is the most self-absorbed, overhyped, overprotected gimmick, and he's not as over as he thinks he is. He says, if you're good, you tell everybody how good you are. When you're great, it's the fans and the people that tell you. And then he said he's going to show up Friday on SmackDown. And then Matt Riddle came out, bro, and he confronted John Cena, bro. And then they just said fucking bro to each other. Bro. John Cena's like, I get it. I understand how to speak fucking bro. Bro. Bro, you know what's wrong with all of this? Besides the fact that it was a lead-in to an unnecessary six-man tag team match, John Cena just showed up on Monday Night Raw and completely overlooked the champion that is on this show. If I was writing this show, I would at the very least have Lashley come out and be like, bro, what are you doing? If you want Roman Reigns, go to his show. I'm the champion of this show. Do not come to my show and disrespect me by calling out somebody else. Stand up for yourself a little bit. Have a little bit of backbone. Maybe do something interesting other than an open challenge that is going to lead to one of the worst booking decisions I've ever seen on Monday Night Raw in my life. And there's a couple of those on this one episode of Monday Night Raw. After John Cena came out and made his announcement, which was, it was expected. It's what we all thought it was going to be. We had the 6-man tag team match. Matt Riddle and the Viking Warrior Raiders took on Johnny Drip Drip himself, America's moistest idiot, and the Raw Tag Team Champions AJ Styles and Omos. This was an unnecessary waste of time. This was them just filling time, putting bodies in the ring, using guys because they don't know what else to do. What does the WWE do when they don't know what to do with a couple of storylines? They mash them together. Randy Orton is still nowhere in sight. This was a match. It was a 6-man, and I didn't really care all that much. I didn't pay that much attention to it. It wasn't worth my time. Riddle and the Riddle Warrior Raiders defeated the Raw Tag Team Champions and John Morrison tonight. So there we go. Champions losing, even though John Morrison was the one to take the pin, which is where I can give a little bit of an excuse for, a little bit of an acceptance, an allowance, if you will. But there is none of that. There is no allowance. There is no acceptance of The Miz sitting in his wheelchair, spraying everybody with fucking water with the goddamn dripstick. It's just so cringe, and I hate it. And I don't understand why the crowd is so over with John Morrison. I guess most of the casual crowd like bad comedy. And I shouldn't be surprised by that. Just like we shouldn't be surprised by the fact that Monday Night Raw was the drizzling shits tonight. They tried. I guess we can give them a half a point for trying. They tried to have an epic show. They tried to do something special. But all they did was disappoint us with segment after segment. And that continued after this 6-man when we were made privy to the knowledge that we are going to get a Symphony of Destruction match. And who's going to take place in this match is going to be Jackson Ryker versus Elias. A feud I thought was over. A feud I prayed to the gods of wrestling would be over. Because I hate this feud. There's nothing to it. And I could swear that the ambiance of the crowd for Monday Night Raw tonight was nowhere near the same as it was for Friday. It was not the same as it was last night. And I have a sneaky suspicion, and call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, but I have a feeling WWE was piping in noise to that crowd to try to lead them to do and say what Vince wants them to do and say, because there were very muffled, very muted Jackson Ryker chants here and there. And I understand that they were in Texas where a guy like Jackson Ryker might be able to get over, but this just didn't feel generic. There were some decent spots. This was just a hardcore match with musical instruments. Jackson Ryker defeats Elias. Maybe that's the positive takeaway from this, is we got to see Elias get beat up. We got to see him get smashed through the top of a piano. I guess that's a good thing. No, none of this was good. I didn't care. This feud should have been over. It should have been dead. And all this is a fucking rematch. One of many that are coming down the line on this episode of Monday Night Raw. One which was set up by the Coronation, the Charlotte Flair Championship celebration. Let's have Charlotte come out and celebrate, which we all kind of expected, because this is what Vince does. He's got his prize horse on top of the division, so he's going to prance her out there and give her all the TV time in the world. She talked about being the Divas champion once. She talked about being the Raw champion 5 times. She talked about being the SmackDown champion 5 times, and she completely eliminated the fact that she won the NXT championship, as if it didn't count, as if it doesn't exist, as if it's a piece of garbage, as if Vince McMahon doesn't give 2 fucks about NXT, which is something that we all already know, and he would prove multiple times on this show as well, starting with the omission of Charlotte Flair's NXT Championship reign. Why wouldn't he add that? At the very least, it brings Charlotte's total up, which I know is the main mission of what they're doing with Charlotte Flair over the course of the last couple of years. I think they're more concerned with Charlotte Flair getting to 17 World Championships and beating Ric Flair's record than they are with John Cena doing it. Be that as it may, this would prompt Rhea Ripley to come out because, they have no other women built up in the division. They don't care enough to make anything interesting. So Rhea Ripley comes walking out to the ring, and she looked like a sad, depressed little teenager. Like she didn't have any fucking energy. She looked like her parents just yelled at her and scolded her for losing the world championship the night before. And she had to come out and face the music and face the champion, even though the look on her face says she didn't want to be there. She doesn't want to be doing this. She just seemed to be completely disconnected from what she was doing tonight. And I don't know if that was just me. Let me know if you agree with that in the comments below. I know Rhea Ripley doesn't really connect with us, and she doesn't have a character to begin with, but there was just really nothing there. She seemed like she was just a body in place. And if that's the angle she was going for, if she was acting that way, intentionally portraying that as part of her character, then kudos, because you got me. I feel like you're just not there in your own body. And she was just going through the motions. Next thing you know, Charlotte Flair's like, I could beat Rhea Ripley any day of the week. Rhea's like, well, how about tonight? And even though we all said last night's match was great, that does not give you carte blanche to book the same match 24 hours later. We seen it last night. We don't need to see it again so soon. We are past this. This feud should be over. We've been put through so much already. Charlotte Flair has the title. Let's just move on. Nope. But we're going to book this title match, women's title match. We're going to make it the main event of the evening. And we're going to follow this up by reminding everybody that Nikki Cross/Ash/A-H-S-H, always, whatever the fuck kind of superhero she is, won the Money in the Bank last night, which opened up all of the possibilities for her cashing in my mind. Right then and there, I knew that somehow she was going to cash in. I thought she was going to lose upon cashing in the way this night was going. However, I would be wrong, and we will get to that at the end of this review, because there's more trash we need to talk about and send to the fire, and of course, the poop hammer comes crashing down, and it's gonna hurt deep inside for all of you as well as for me when we have to sit here and talk about a match featuring Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax going up against Natty and Tamina for absolutely no reason at all. Do you know why this match happened? Because they made a trade for Mandy Rose to go to NXT. Who did Raw get in return? I certainly don't think the NXT superstar that came to Raw tonight was the trade for Mandy Rose, and if that was, they certainly didn't get their money's worth either way. Not an even trade. But Mandy and Dana broken up so Mandy can go off. I'm not mad about that. I didn't need to see that anymore, but because there are no other women's tag teams, they had to revert to the only other women's tag team on Raw, which is another one that nobody cares about. One that has been booked to oblivion, one that has been given a sideshow freak like Reginald as a comedy act. Nia Jax showing up on Raw tonight looking like Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons with her new little hairdo. And there were shenanigans, of course. Reginald got involved, causing a distraction, causing the champions to defeat the challengers. This finally sent Shayna Baszler over the edge. There was a confrontation with Reginald, and it was Nia Jax that knocked him down. Okay, now Reginald was all alone in the ring, and some people were chanting Reggie sucks, And I was okay with that. But then all of a sudden, the clowns and the cavalcade of catering rejects that clamor for the 24/7 championship came running down to the ring. They were falling all over themselves. Now, I don't know if that was intentional. Maybe they were trying to make us forget about Titus World Slide. But these guys were running down the ramp. They tripped over their own feet, and then other guys subsequently tripped over them. Akira Tozawa, the champion, is laughing in the ring. And then Reginald ends up pinning Akira Tozawa and is the new 24/7, hey, look at me, I'm a clown. I have this gold-plated avocado-colored belt that should have been put in the trash and incinerated by now because it adds absolutely nothing to Monday Night Raw except another antacid that I have to take out of the medicine cabinet and ingest to be able to get through this show without losing my fucking lunch. Or dinner, as it were. Or all the friggin' coffee I had to drink just to fucking stay awake for this piece of shit show. Holy shit. And you just wait. There's more. It gets better. Not only did we have that stupid tag team rematch that was unnecessary and a 24/7 segment, we had to see Sheamus versus Dr. Dimples, Humberto fucking Carrillo again. Again, after multiple times that we've been put through this match, Humberto Carrillo has been buried by Sheamus week after week after week, and the trend continues again. And this time it's different though, Mr. Nightmare. Vince McMahon had this idea. We got Sheamus walking around with this mask. Why don't he start using the mask as a weapon? So he beats Humberto Carrillo by headbutting him with his steel mask, that is his protection for his broken nose, and then kicking his dimples all the way back to Mexico. Humberto Carrillo loses. They showed Damian Priest in the back watching the match this week. So we're still, I guess, building towards that, but giving me a rematch of a match that I didn't want in the first place is not a good way to build another match that we are all maybe kind of excited for, but after watching Raw tonight, we know they're going to fuck it up somehow and probably end up burying Damian Priest. After all, he is from NXT, and Vince hates NXT. He fucking hates it. I don't think he's trying to kill it. I don't think he's trying to sabotage it. I just think he hates it. And he has no choice but to take his new talent from there. But he decides to take some of the most over talent and bury the shit out of them. Case in point. Bobby Lashley comes out. He's got an open challenge tonight. Bobby Lashley had a great promo talking about how he beat the shit out of Kofi Kingston last night. He made good on his promise. MVP talked about how this was all Kofi Kingston's own doing, which is something I talked about on this channel as well. Kofi Kingston might have been the reason why Bobby Lashley became a monster. And they highlighted this in this segment. They got a lot of what chants. I don't mind it. Some people let it really get on their nerves, but it's just become like a thing that wrestling fans do when you pause for your sentence. It's not meant disrespectfully. It's just part of the game. Be grateful that it was what and not CM Punk. Those are a little annoying because he's not coming back. Get the fuck over it. But the what chance, I don't care. So, with the rumors swirling all over the internet that Goldberg was going to come back and be the challenger for Bobby Lashley leading into SummerSlam, I believe myself and probably every one of you thought that Goldberg was going to be the one answering this open challenge. But out comes the one and only Keith Lee. I love Keith Lee. I love this man. I think he is a testament to what wrestling is all about. He's one of the greatest big men wrestlers I've ever seen. He's part Andre the Giant, part Vader, part Kamala. Like, he's got this whole aura that he's got the size, and he's agile, and he moves like a cat, and he's got a great sense of promo. He doesn't have that weird delivery all the time, and when he's more comfortable, he is one of the best talkers that we've seen come down the pipe on NXT as well. Keith Lee is deserving of attention. He deserves to be pushed. He was already brought up and ruined once. So here they bring him in to challenge the champion. So now at first I'm thinking, as this is happening, maybe they're coming to their senses and they're going to veer away from the Goldberg thing and maybe build up Keith Lee over the course of the next couple of weeks and lead this into a match at SummerSlam. Oh man, was I wrong. Oh man, was I wrong. WWE decides instead that Keith Lee is going to lose to Bobby Lashley in less than 5 minutes. Now, this match, according to the commentary team, went from being a title match to being a match where Lashley could earn a championship match if he defeated the champion, which now made me think they were going to make Bobby Lashley lose 24 hours after decimating Kofi Kingston. This is a no-win situation for anybody but Bobby Lashley unless he loses. Okay, Bobby Lashley stands to gain nothing by beating Keith Lee. He's showing up. Keith Lee he's answering the challenge here, and he's got everything to lose. Because if he loses here to Bobby Lashley, what does that mean for his push going forward? And there's no way he was going to win in that moment. And Bobby Lashley shouldn't be losing to Keith Lee on a surprise return out of nowhere like this. But this match deserves a story behind it. This match deserves a bigger build. Keith Lee deserves a little bit more attention. But the WWE had to stick to their guns. Keith Lee is so big that Bobby Lashley couldn't get the hurt lock on him, yet he was still able to beat him by giving him a spine buster and a spear. Another fucking superstar doing the spear as a finisher. That's now Roman, that's Edge, that's Charlotte, Goldberg, and now Bobby Lashley bringing the spear back into the finishing maneuver category because he couldn't get his arms around the massive back to lock in the hurt lock on Keith Lee. I don't know. All of this was all to sacrifice him for what? To make way for Bill Goldberg to come down? To build up Bobby Lashley even more as a powerhouse? Oh, look, he even beat this super big, strong guy. And now, fucking Goldberg. I'm an old berg, and I should go home and drink some Ensure. Get the fuck out of here with this. How many times do we have to see this? And now you got guys like Keith Lee being sacrificed for what? For what? Especially when they have the perfect story sitting right in their lap. You thought they were going to do the right thing, but now we got to waste the entire summer on Bill fucking Goldberg instead of having Big E cash in the Money in the Bank and come over to Raw and get some revenge for what Bobby Lashley did to his friends. Now, sure, you could still do that. If Bobby Lashley beats Bill Goldberg at SummerSlam, you can have Big E cash in. You know, that would be fine, I guess. Or vice versa. God forbid Goldberg is the one that ends up beating Bobby Lashley. You could have Big E come out and cash in on Goldberg. And I think everybody would be all right with that as well, as long as Big E does the cashing in at some point. But the story is there. It doesn't need the element of surprise. John Cena did it that way. He should have came out tonight. Big E should have answered the open challenge. He should have cashed in his Money in the Bank, called his shot at SummerSlam, and now you have all this time, 6 weeks or whatever it is, to build up the tension, to tell the story of revenge for the New Day as Big E makes his way to the WWE Championship. It's right fucking there. But they don't think that's big enough. They don't think that's special enough. So what's special? What does Vince McMahon think is special? People over fucking 50. And that big Bill Goldberg comes out, he got a pop. Sure, he got a pop. And I got to hear and see on social media all these supposed experts, all these fucking writers, and these guys that consider themselves in the know, the smartest people in the wrestling community, sitting there, oh, everybody's going to be mad and crying about this on Twitter, but did you hear that pop? Oh, did you hear that pop? Did you hear that pop for Goldberg? How about that pop, guys? Did you hear that pop? Oh, why is Goldberg here? Did you hear that pop? How is that a valid fucking argument? The fans would pop for anything right now. We've been starving for wrestling. You could have brought out Dink the fucking Clown, and everybody would have been like, oh my God, it's fucking Dink. Everybody lose their mind. They could have announced, hey, everybody coming to the ring. Here's Nick Nightmare's grandma. Sure, she don't exist anymore because she passed away, but here she is. She's coming to the ring, and everybody would be like, ah, grandma. Yeah, grandma's fucking here. You don't even know my grandma. That is not an excuse. You want a better explanation? You want a better example? Friday night on SmackDown. Vince McMahon started that show. He came out, where the hell have you been? It was a bad joke, right? You watched it. If you didn't, you can go back and see it. Sure, it got a lot of hits on YouTube. Everybody's watching Vince McMahon come out. Huge pop from the crowd. Vince came out. You heard the music hit. No chance. That's what you got. Crowd was like, yeah, it's the boss. Even though he fucking ruins everything, let's get excited and pop for Vince because we're stoked to be back out in the universe. Does that mean Vince McMahon should be in the fucking main event wrestling Roman Reigns at SummerSlam? No, it doesn't. But did you hear that pop? But did you hear the pop for Vince? That's their fucking argument. Oh my God, did you hear that pop? That's why they're doing this. You know what would have got a bigger fucking pop than Bill Goldberg? Big E. I rest my fucking case. Take that shit to the bank. Then things continue to get progressively worse. We say rest in peace to Keith Lee. And we wish you well in your future endeavors, my friend. I love you, brother. And you don't deserve that shit. You brought him back to lose for no reason at all. Absolutely terrible. That is not how you start a rebuilding process. And unless this was Keith Lee's swan song in the WWE, his farewell to us, there was no reason for this. They could have done better. Just like there was no reason for, and could have done better, with Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal. First of all, Drew McIntyre was fucking kidnapped last night. Nobody really made mention of it. But Jinder Mahal just shows up tonight. He wants to tell everybody, hey, it's my fucking birthday. And then Stanky and Schmear start singing happy birthday to Jinder Mahal. And then Drew McIntyre came out of nowhere and beat the shit out of him with a chair. Hit him over 20 times while the crowd counted along. And I didn't give a fuck about any of this. Drew versus Jinder, the only good thing about this program is the fact that Drew is not the champion. Other than that, I don't care at all. You could break his fucking motorcycle. You could beat up Stanky and Schmear. You could take your sword and cut the whole ring in half. You could do whatever you want, Drew McIntyre. I have no interest in anything happening between you and Jinder Mahal. Even more so because, much like we said with Big E before, there's an actual, organic, regular story here. These guys have history. Both of these men somehow made their way to the WWE Championship while not crossing each other's paths. But they're both part of one of the worst fucking factions of all time. Like, there's history there to play off of and to pull from. But you want to make this a bullying angle. And then you want to have Jinder Mahal kidnap Drew McIntyre, not pay it off at all, and just have him show up tonight. I don't get it. I don't get it. You know what else I don't get? I don't get why. First, if you were planning to have Karrion Kross on Monday Night Raw tonight, you don't fucking announce it minutes before it happens. This is why we don't have nice things. You know, there's a simple rule when it comes to creating and most specifically writing entertaining television, entertaining fiction, and it applies to books, it applies to movies, and episodic television as well. There's a rule. It is called show, don't tell. It is the practice of writing and describing things in a way where you're showing people what is happening, allowing them to feel and connect in a certain way with your story. You're not just telling them, oh, this dog walked down the street. No, you build the story, you show, you tell everything around them, you build a sense of where you're at so that the reader or the viewer, they feel engaged and they feel connected. It's called show, don't tell. Show me what you got. Show me your cool grinder, bro. Don't tell me about it. Show it to me. They don't subscribe to this practice. And they announced Karrion Kross is going to make his Raw debut while he's still NXT champion tonight, eliminating the element of surprise, telling us this is going to happen. And how do they pay this off? They pay this off by having Karrion Kross take on Jeff Hardy in his first match on Monday Night Raw. Jeff Hardy has been sporadically being used here and there. Last time we seen Jeff Hardy, he was on Monday Night Raw losing to fucking Jinder Mahal. And now here he is on Monday Night Raw. And everybody's jerking off because he's got his old theme song back. Oh my God, no more words. Oh my God, it's the old Jeff Hardy song. Who gives a fuck what song this guy's coming out to? He's been sitting in the back collecting paychecks, doing nothing but eating catering for the last few months. Coming up with new facial designs for his paint, probably. But has done nothing at all of any relevance. But here comes Jeff Hardy. And in less than 2 minutes, he beats the NXT champion. I guess that fucking new theme song really brought out the power in fucking Jeff Hardy. And this is something else. We got everybody kind of split down the middle. There's the camp here that hate every single ounce of what has happened here, and then there's the camp that's just like, it's not a big deal, Kross will be fine, there's a story here, let the story play out, blah, 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 blah. You know what fucking story I see? I see the story of an NXT champion who is undefeated in NXT, hasn't had his shoulders pinned to the mat, has been booked very strong, has had a decent championship reign. Since stepping foot in the WWE, the man hasn't lost. And now on his first match on the main roster, on Monday Night Raw, unsurprisingly, the NXT champion loses. The dominant, scary, monstrous Karrion Kross beaten by a 50-year-old Jeff Hardy in 2 minutes. And you're going to tell me Vince McMahon doesn't give a shit about NXT talent? You're going to tell me he doesn't hate that show? And it is made worse by the fact that they took away a lot of the things that made Karrion Kross special. Most importantly, the hot fucking blonde that comes with him. Karrion Kross came out tonight unceremoniously. He just was there. His Titantron was going on in the back. I think they changed his music. I'm not sure because I don't watch NXT enough, but I feel like they cut out a lot of the Fall and Pray stuff and they changed his music. Let me know if I'm right on that. And he didn't have Scarlett Bordeaux. He didn't have Scarlett at his side. No manager, no gimmick, no cool entrance. And then he doesn't even go out there and win. If this isn't a failure of a debut, then I don't know what is. After that first main class from NXT, like, Kevin Owens and the girls and Sammy, everybody that has come from NXT, from Baron Corbin and Shinsuke Nakamura all the way now to Karrion Kross and Damian Priest, they have all been booked like shit, like garbage, like afterthoughts, like they don't matter. And if that's how you feel about them, why call them up in the fucking first place? You have stained the NXT champion. You have undone all the work that Triple H has put into this character of Karrion Kross. And you can fucking sleep with yourself tonight after watching what you just did to a superstar that could potentially have been a very big name in the company in the next couple of years. Maybe the guy that possibly could have stepped up to unseat Roman Reigns after Roman takes care of The Rock and there's nobody else. You've already fucking ruined it. Oh, Kross will be fine. Sure, he'll be fine. He's going to count his fucking money. He's going to go home and he's going to squeeze his honey because she wasn't with him at the match. And that's probably why he fucking lost. And he's going to be just fine. Sure, he's going to go back to NXT and he's going to be booked fine there too. But why Vince McMahon did this is beyond me. All I could see is that he doesn't know how to book pro wrestling anymore. And he needs to find a reason for Karrion Kross, the villain in this Jeff Hardy scenario, to be angry. And how do you anger him? By having him beaten. And I don't give a shit that Jeff Hardy cheated, because that just makes it even worse. Being the babyface, being the legendary babyface, one of the most over superstars of all time, putting his feet on the ropes to beat Karrion Kross in a match that has no stakes. There was no urgency. There was no need for the good guy to cheat to win over this monster in a match that didn't even go 2 minutes. And Kross looked horrible. He got no offense whatsoever. And then they had to interview him. Then they threw the little British dude in there to interview Karrion Kross, and he asked him about losing his Raw debut. And Karrion Kross said, Jeff Hardy just made the biggest mistake of his life, and everyone in the end will fall and pray. Why would anyone give a shit now? The crowd didn't give a shit at all, and you didn't fucking help him. Terrible. Terrible shit here on Monday Night Raw all night. Alexa's Playground, I didn't even watch. Seen Alexa in her little swing. I looked at her in her little outfit. And then Eva Marie and Dewdrop, Blue Buns, came out dressed like fucking 101 Dalmatians. Well, at least I thought it was Dalmatians at first. It might have been Snow Leopard. Who gives a fuck? This was fucking awful. There are no words that I can even use to tell you how bad this was. Alexa Bliss was talking to Lily. Eva and Dewdrop come in. And then there's all kinds of bad dialogue between the two. Eva tripped over nothing. It's just awful. Awful. They're trying to put fucking Dewdrop in timeout. I wish they would put the creative team in fucking timeout and then fire them. Or put them all in a crate and lock them up next to the fucking Holy Grail. We don't deserve this. And it boggles my mind that they have the capability to give me a Money in the Bank pay-per-view like last night and then turn around and shit out an episode of Raw like this. Raw ends with the Women's Championship rematch. The next rematch of this night, where Rhea Ripley defeated Charlotte Flair by disqualification because Charlotte used the belt. They tried to recapture whatever it is they had last night, but it definitely wasn't there. Probably because they were exhausted, and this match was unnecessary. Ripley once again looked like she didn't want no part of anything that was going down tonight, even though she was getting the win by disqualification. And this would cause Nikki A.S.H.es music to hit before Ripley even finished attacking Charlotte. She hit the Riptide outside the ring on the champ, and then Nikki comes running out, cashes in the Money in the Bank in a very dumb way. I don't want to say dumb, but it was not choreographed very well. Charlotte Flair was not taken out to the point where she should have lost after everything that she had just been put through with Rhea Ripley. She had the upper hand. She was fine. She took a Riptide to the outside and then got put back into the ring and then I guess couldn't get back up in time. Nikki Cross hit a flying crossbody when Charlotte finally got up and got the pin. She just hit a flying crossbody. She doesn't have a finishing move. She didn't add, any extra damage. She didn't put a little nail in the coffin. She just waited for Charlotte to get up, hit a very basic crossbody, barely hit the crossbody. And then the crowd got excited in the end for the cash in. But honestly, what? She cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase 24 hours after winning it. The only good thing about it is that we don't have to sit through another long, drawn-out Money in the Bank scenario regarding the women's division this year. The Money in the Bank briefcase was won. It's been cashed in. It's finished. If you followed me on Twitter, you will have seen that I said I fully expected Nikki Cross to end up cashing in and end up losing. And I was only half right. And that happens sometimes. And I just don't see the point in what they did here. They could have very easily, very, very easily, just had Nikki Cross cash in last night. Right after that match was over. Extending it and waiting to Raw made no sense. In fact, putting the title on Charlotte for a few hours made no sense. Rhea Ripley has been such a bitch and has been booked as such an unlikable character that Nikki could have cashed in on Ripley and I think everybody would have been just fine with it. No reason to flip-flop the Women's Championship and treat it like the hardcore title. It's changed hands 3 times in the last 24 hours. What is this, a new 24/7 title? Or is this the women's fucking championship? I feel like we're going back to the days where they were doing Charlotte hot potatoing this thing back and forth with Sasha Banks. And that's why both of them are like 7-time champions. Well, Charlotte's an 11-time champion, but she's only been in the company like 4 years. Took Ric Flair 2 decades to accumulate his accolades. But they hot potato these fucking titles back and forth because to them they're just trinkets. They're meaningless. There's no value left in the championship, so they just hand them off. Here you go. I didn't like the fact that Nikki won the Money in the Bank. I mean, I guess this is how you get rewarded when you put yourself out there to look like a fool for Vince McMahon. He loves his comedy gimmicks. I don't know. I mean, props to her for putting herself out there, making herself look ridiculous, and look at what ended up happening for her. But part of me just believes they did this to get it out of the way. It's only a matter of time before that belt goes back around the waist of Charlotte, and we're going to be traveling back down the road of Charlotte versus Becky by the time we get to SummerSlam. And honestly, I don't want to see that either, because I'm tired of that. We've seen that 100 times before Becky Lynch left. We don't need to go back to the status quo. We need new females. Would have been nice to see one of the new females. Maybe, it's not like Raw doesn't need women. that we had to leave Scarlett Bordeaux down in NXT and bring up her boyfriend and just absolutely murder him. What a piece of shit show this was. How can you try so hard and still fail? Ask Monday Night Raw. They know all about it. Thank you guys all so very much for joining me on this poop hammer-filled episode of the Monday Night Raw post Money in the Bank review. Riddle me this, my friends. How is this happening? How is this possible? How is it fucking possible that they could be this bad? I don't know. I can't take it. I still am mildly excited for Friday because we got bigger things going on SmackDown. John Cena is going to show up and confront Roman Reigns. It's also coming to us from 2 locations. It's going to be live from Chicago as well as from Rolling Loud, which is a hip-hop concert going on. And should be an interesting little change of pace, different atmosphere. But aside from that, I'm looking forward to whatever they have planned going forward from here with John Cena and Roman Reigns, who continues to be the only thing really worth our time, because they just took Bobby Lashley and put him on a road that nobody wants to go down, the yellow brick road, down to the head-busting highway that is fucking Bill Goldberg. Awful. Awful. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. If you're not, you missed out on a red-hot rant-filled night. I wish I could remember everything I said right now, but it's late. I'm tired. 2 nights in a row with the review. I'm done. Hope you guys enjoyed it and had a good time. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team. Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue, the Yeti microphone, the most important member of the team, as always. Each and every one of you loyal Sledgeheads of Sledge Nation. Now it is time to do your part. Make sure you smash that like button if you enjoyed the show today. Make sure you are subscribed and that you stay notified so every time we bring the hammer down on the WWE, you don't miss a beat. And then share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world, especially if they need a place to come and call home where they too can comfortably take a gigantic shit all over the WWE and not have to feel bad about it. That's why we're here. That's the community we are culminating at Sledgehammer TV. I love each and every one of you guys so much. Don't forget to check out anything you might have missed, including last night's Money in the Bank review, in the annotations up above. That is going to do it. We are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. And as always, thanks for nothing, Vince.
Thanks, Vince. Oh.